Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So, you know the drill by now, but if you're new, there'll be something from the week it was recorded, and then there'll be games, movies, and TV. So yeah, if you're checking us out on YouTube, do help the channel out and just click that subscribe button. And share with friends and family. Get them to do the same. It's a big help. We really appreciate it. And yeah, it helps the channel out. So that's cool. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Does every podcast start like that? My old man noises. I imagine so. I press record and then I sit down. And I'm an old man. So, 2 plus 2 absolutely makes 5. This is a weird one. At time of recording, we've just been put into another lockdown. Literally like an hour ago. But I am not here to talk about that. Any long time listener will know I put all that stuff to one side to attempt to not be harping on about the same old shit. So last week I was like, I've only got a few things on this. This was a bit of a quick one. Yeah, it was like an hour and 6 minutes or something. So I'm not going to say that this week. But I have only got a few things on the list this week. Not to date this, but we're into the new year. Happy New Year to you. That will mean nothing at the point that you actually hear this. But yeah, at time of recording, we've just had not long had the new year. Yeah, spent New Year's Eve the way I spend pretty much every New Year's Eve now, which is on my own. Not completely. But I see the new year in on my own and have done for a while now. Did get to spend some quality time with my eldest. We watched a movie. Let her stay up a little bit later because it's New Year. And she could have a lie-in the next day, which she absolutely didn't. She did have a lie-in the day after, so, swings and roundabouts in it. It's one of those things I've just realised. I haven't written that film on my list, and that is because it's a film I've seen before and not one that I especially feel needs talking about. Ironically, the one and only film on the list this week is a film I have seen before. But we'll get to that. So, item number 1 on the docket is snow. So it snowed a few times. It snowed Christmas Eve. I don't believe it snowed Christmas Day. It was not a white Christmas. And then in that, that limbo week, that week between Christmas and New Year, and then into the new year, I think it snowed a couple of times. One was just a bit meh. The other one was quite substantial, but not enough. I mean, you couldn't even make a snowball. I know this because we tried. Great thing about kids is more than 15 minutes of snow, and it's like, right, let's get out there. Let's make a tiny snowman. Couldn't even do that. Wasn't even enough snow to make a tiny snowman. But, you know, good on getting out there. I went out there. Went out there in my slippers. Had to put them on the radiator after that. Good times. So, let's talk about snow. What is the age when? Where? When? One of those. You go from looking out the window and going, it's snowing, yeah. Gonna build snowman, snowball fights, snow angels. That's an American thing. I don't feel that was really a thing over here until you saw it a million times in like American stuff, TV and films, and then you tried to do it at some point. So when do you go? What is the age that you go from, yay, it's snowing, fantastic, to looking out the window and be like, oh fuck, it's snowing? When does that happen? When does that change happen? What is the catalyst for it? So I had this conversation the other day, and I said this exact thing. I was like, which is the point in your life where you go from, yay, it's snowing, to, oh fuck, it's snowing? So then I was like, is it when you reach a point in time where you have to go places? So, you know, obviously you're going to be an adult. But it's like, is it at the point you can drive? Because you know instantly that driving in the snow, you know, either side of it, especially after, because all it's going to take is for it to be compacted and then have a cold night. Next thing, snow is ice and you're driving on it. Dangerous. I will never forget was it last year? No. Might have been the first year I was driving. I have a feeling it was in the first car. Set off to go to work, snow, a proper snow, full covering, deep, all that. And I drove up the road to the big roundabout at the top of like where I live, and I went to stop, and I just slid out into the roundabout. And weirdly, and this is the thing that I can't, looking back, I can't work this bit out, because there was nothing coming. So I'm a bit like, well, why was I stopping? But then I'm like, maybe I was just slowing down to then go, oh, there's nothing coming, I can go. But in the slowing down process, I've just basically skidded out into the roundabout. And all I could think was, if something had have been coming at that point in time, that would have been me. I'd have been in an accident. It would have been coming on like my side, depending on what speed the vehicle was coming at. That could have been, a fatal or certainly a serious accident. So is it that? Is it the aspect? Is it tied to driving? I remember getting sent home from work because basically they worked on the principle that if you lived a certain distance and the buses were cancelled because the snow was that bad, they would send you home. And I lived 0.1 miles over the distance, so I was one of the people that got to go home, which was like, cool, I get to go home. On the flip side, I've got a walk that I think clocks in at like an hour and 15 minutes, and with no transport, it's like, okay. And I'm sure it took me like 4 hours to walk home, because it was like up to your knees kind of snow. I think I saw something the other day that was like 10 years ago or something. I remember it as if it was yesterday. So what is the point in life where snow is a pain in the ass? I had this thing. I went out for a run this morning, and it was like I had to like ice skate down the hill, and then attempt to get up a reasonable hill that was just complete ice, sheet ice, nigh on impossible. Did manage it though, but yeah, it was treacherous this morning. There have been a few mornings I've been out running, and I've got back and been like, it is dangerous out there. But I started wondering, I was like, is it a point in time where, does it signify that you've stopped being a child to some degree? It starts snowing and everybody in this house was going ballistic. Yeah, it's snowing. Oh, it's getting heavier. Oh, it's not snowing as much now. Oh, it's snowing loads. And then, like I say, immediately, can we go outside? And I'm like, yeah, if you want. And for me, I looked out and I assessed it. I was like, that's not a lot of snow. But there would come a point where you'd be like, oh man, it's too much snow. So yeah, it set me a pondering. Answers on a postcard if you know. I want to talk about a joy I have recently discovered, and this is one of those that I feel that this probably puts me in the category where somebody is going to listen to this and be like, I mean, are you really that dumb? And the answer is yes. If you ever have to ask that question, just go with yes. Just 1 second. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's a cookie dough flavoured coffee. Just let that one sink in for a moment. Ooh, that is delicious. No alcohol-free wanky beer this evening. The stocks are getting low, so it's going to be more of a weekend thing now. I don't want to be drinking too many of those bad boys and going out driving in the snow, do we? Yeah. So, I've recently discovered something which I feel I'm probably a little late to the party on this one. Where do I even start? Way back in the day, which isn't that far back, it's probably like 4 or 5 years ago, when I was really into running, I was proud to be an all-weather runner. So in summer, it's shorts and a t-shirt. No surprises there. However, in winter, much of a change of attire. But strangely, not a lot. The only major change that would really be is I would wear base layers. So I had various sets of legs. So I'm trying not to say the word leggings because they're not. It's like a base layer for your legs, and then I had a series of base layers for my torso. Yeah, I suppose that works. So I would wear them. I would run home in the winter, maybe even run home in the snow. Pop a pair of gloves on, trainers on, all the bits and bobs. Still put the shorts and the t-shirt on over the top. Another layer, keep you warm. Part of me feels like there was a headband in there somewhere. I suppose it will it have been at a time Will it have been at a time when I still had dreadlocks? Interesting. Maybe that was it. Anyway, as we have moved away, the royal we being me, moved away from the running. No need for all of these various underlayers, base layers, under armours, whatever you want to call them. And they've just sat in a drawer ever since. Now, fast forward to sort of now time, I got into, I listened to, was it Henry Rollins? Or was it Bill Burr? Somebody on a podcast talked about gym attire and was talking about how when you go to the gym you should be dressed like it's the 1980s and you're going to the gym. Grey jogging bottoms, a pair of trainers, a t-shirt, a grey hoodie with a hood, and so on and so forth. So I reached a point, and then again was in the winter, of going to the gym with jogging bottoms. I used to go to the gym in shorts and t-shirt. And it was like jogging bottoms, t-shirt, hoodie, let's do this. And there's that element of, you sweat that bit more, work that bit harder, so on and so forth. Bring it to this point in time, when I go running, that's what I go running in. Jogging bottoms, t-shirt, hoodie, trainers, and we're off. More recently, gloves. So again, that is a nice cup of coffee. Again, the base layers are just sitting in the drawer. Obviously we're talking about it being cold enough to snow. I am what would be known as a tight Yorkshireman. There is no heating on in this house during the day. So there. Come to my house during the day and it's cold outside, bring your coat because it's probably going to be cold inside as well. What that does mean, however, is that I have to sometimes suffer through being cold indoors. Reached a point where I'd been cold for about 4 days. Now, me being me, there's probably like there's probably 20 days in a year of 365. 20 of those I might actually be able to say I am cold. Pretty much the majority of the time I'm probably warm. Like now, my hands are reasonably warm, but then again it's 9 o'clock at night. So they'll have been heating on, I'm wearing, jumpers and things like that. So I got to the point where I've been cold for like 4 days and I was just done. I can deal with it for like a day or so, a couple of days, whatever. Day 4, I'm like, I've had enough of this. I'm like, I need something else. Do I put another jumper on? Do I put another, I think I had a second pair of socks on at that point in time. Do I put additional trousers on? This sort of thought pattern. And then I was like, do you know what? I've got a drawer full of base layers. I'm going to get one for the top, I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to put a t-shirt on, and I'm going to put my jumper back on, and that's how we're going to do this. I tell you, one of the best decisions I've ever made. I have underestimated the use of the base layer, and like I said at the start of this, people right now are going to be like, they're going to be thinking about that J. Jonah Jameson thing from Spider-Man, whichever one it was, where he's laughing, and they're like, are you serious? They're like, how have you only just worked this one out, numbnuts? But Not the sharpest tool in the box, ladies and germs. So, yeah, Under Armour base layer. I'm telling you, man, if you're cold in the house, get one of those bad boys on. Warms you right up. Now, here's another thing. For this is what sparked it, because for Christmas I got a Seattle Seahawks, kind of like a base layer, kind of like a workout top, kind of like a and I got it from Expressions, and Chris and his good lady wife were telling me, oh, they're super warm, they're really good at keeping the heat in and this, that and the other. I was like, I'm sold on that. So I started with that, and I was wearing that. Man, game changer. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not sleep on the Under Armour base layer, whatever you want to call it. If you're cold, get one of them bad boys on. Do it. It's the right move. For all you people out there that say the phrase, I'm always cold, maybe you don't have to be. Maybe there's a solution out there for you. I don't know how expensive they are. I think, the branded ones, the Under Armour of the world, might run you a bit, but I can also tell you that there are other options out there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more, say no more. I've got a Deadpool one. Let's put it like that. Makes me look like I'm, fat Deadpool. So, there, little piece of advice from me to you. If you're cold, get yourself a base layer. So I wanted to talk about an issue I've had to review recently. Because I'm so broken and flawed, I spend a lot of my time sort of like reviewing things, looking at things, trying to find ways to improve things and stuff like that. And, I largely fail miserably, but, it's thought that counts, isn't it? 1 second. Delicious. This is not sponsored in any way, but I think it's Beanie's Coffee. They do like flavoured coffees. I mentioned that I got a couple of advent calendars, little coffee advent calendars. For Christmas I got a box of their coffee, different little jars of their coffee. Absolute game changer, really is. What was I talking about? Was I talking about anything? Had I even started on the... Right, yeah, I've been looking at something recently. So, for Christmas, there's a couple of things I specifically asked for. Not wildly expensive things. Things that I had been holding off getting, and then I was like, I kind of want these, so I will mention them as gifts for Christmas. I can see one of them now, and that one was I wanted some grip cover things for the Quest that have rubber around the tops of the handles, because I'm forever smashing them into the actual Quest or hitting objects out and about, and I don't want to break them. So I was like, get these, they're designed to protect the things. I asked for them, they were less than a tenner. Something else that I actually asked for was I wanted all of the Run the Jewels albums on CD or the equivalent. What that means is that in the end, I got 3 of the 4 for Christmas. 2 of the 3 I got as just digital downloads, And the third one, I got a physical CD that came through the post and a digital download. So, winner winner chicken dinner. Or so you think. We'll come back to that. The other thing was, there was a series of games that were available, and as I'm sure I've mentioned at this point, I got some of those games. I got Half-Life Alyx for the VR. We'll talk about that in a bit. And then I got a series of games for the PlayStation. As Christmas was getting closer and closer and closer, there was a particular game that was becoming like a standout game for me. It's like, this game looks like the game I want to play. This game looks like the game I want to be all about. Now, here's the thing. I spoke quite poorly about this game previously, and it was only as we were running up to Christmas that I saw more about it and was like, actually, do you know what? I feel that is something that I would want to play. The game in question is the Spider-Man Miles Morales game. So, we get to Christmas, open the presents, open all the ones that are game shaped. Obviously I got Half-Life, and we'll talk about that momentarily. I got 4 games for Christmas for the PlayStation. I know that's a lot. I could go into why that is and all this, that and the other, but ultimately those were some of the heavy hitters as far as presents were concerned. Of those 4 PlayStation games, not one of them was a Spider-Man game. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, these other games are games I want to play, games I have mentioned, fully understand and appreciate. These are the games that I've got. I did get some Amazon vouchers for Christmas, so I was like, tell you what, I'll just get it myself. I'll just pick it up now. Job done. Okay. Spider-Man Miles Morales, not available. Oh, okay. So, we'll leave that there for now and we'll go back a step. So, do you remember how I said that I got 3 of the 4 Run the Jewels albums? Yes? Well, that's not all of the Run the Jewels albums. That's 3 of 4. 3/4, some would say. So, went on to Amazon. I need Run the Jewels 2. Tappy, 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 click, click, enter. This item is not available. So this was what happened before Christmas. This item's not available. You can buy it digitally. Perfect, that sounds amazing. I got the others digitally. Oh. It's available digitally for considerably more money than the others were. That's not going to work for me. Why would you charge me more for one of the 4? I think the most recent one was the cheapest of the lot, and that I got twice because I got a physical copy and a digital copy of it. I'm not prepared to give you more money for that album. You can do one. So that's that. So, let's put that to one side and let's get back to the Spider-Man game. Okay, well, you know, it's Christmas, everybody got vouchers, everybody got PlayStations, everybody got all of that. You know, we'll give it a couple of days, we'll see, you know, stock in it. So, here's a twist in the tale. If I wanted Miles Morales on the PS5, not only can I get like a bajillion copies of it, I can pay nearly £20 less than the average price of the PS4 copy when it's in stock. And when I say when it's in stock, I mean anywhere. So here's the thing. I can only presume that the collector in me is having issues with all of this, because I now check multiple times a day to see whether Run the Jewels 2 has come back into stock, and whether Spider-Man Miles Morales is A, in stock, and B, below what I saw the other day was £106 for a copy of it. Because that's how bad things are as far as games are concerned at the moment. It's okay though, because you can get that PS5 one for like 40 quid if you want it. But here's the thing that I've been looking at. The me side of things. It properly like irks me. And it can only be the fact that it's the collection side of things. It's got to be that collection's not complete. As far as the game's concerned, presumably it's like, well, that's the game I want to play. Yes, we did get 4 other games, and I am playing one of those 4 right now. But by the time Christmas came, it was all about the Spider-Man. Or as my youngest would say, Spider. Love Spider-Man, that kid. So yeah, that's where we're at. I have been to Asda, because they promised that they had a copy of it. They were like, look, it's here on the shelf. It's cheaper than you could get it anywhere else. Cool. Took the thing to the till. The woman went away, came back. Here you go. I was like, that's the wrong one. Why is it the wrong one? Well, that's for the PS5. Oh, right, yeah, okay. Went away. Came back. Yeah, we only got it on the PS5. Cool, that's awesome. Cheers for that. Was it Argos? They've got it for £52. Yeah, like 52 quid. Yeah, just like there are places that have got it, but yeah, the price scalping is well and truly in effect. As for Run the Jewels 2, can't get it for love of money anywhere. Like, I've tried everywhere that sells CDs, nobody's got it. And this is the other thing, the majority of the places that sell games, if you do a search for Spider-Man Miles Morales, they will tell you they don't have any. And you know, I had conversations today talking about whether it's because of the way the world is right now that we can't get stocks of things. Who knows? So yeah, the collector in me is not a happy boy right now. So I watched a film, and as I've said, I've seen this film before. But I was going to talk about. I know I keep saying this. I'm not going to talk about films that I've seen before. And then I do. I break my own sort of restrictions or whatever. And when I say what the film is, when I tell you what the film is, you're going to be like, I mean, where's this going? I watched The Matrix. I have seen The Matrix at least a bajillion times. I have seen The Matrix is one of the films that I have seen more than any other film. There are certain films that I've just seen so many times. The Matrix, Blade, Fight Club. That's 3 to name just 3. So why did I watch The Matrix, you might ask? I put it on because I haven't seen it in a really long time. And there's a reason for that, and that reason is because I've seen it so many times. Certain films that I've reached a point where it's like, I could probably never watch that film again because I've seen it so many times. Thing that I am realising is, even if you've seen a film a lot of times, if you haven't seen it in, I mean, it's not going to be 20 years, but it could be 15. Might be worth going back and just refreshing on it. So I put it on, and it took me 2, 3, 4 sittings to watch it. And that was one of those that I think I watched like the first half an hour, 40 minutes in 3 sittings, and then I watched the rest in a 4th sitting. What I realised watching it this time is, if you take away the action, so remove the things you remember, the bullet time, the bit where he dodges the bullets. Spoilers, by the way. I'm pretty sure this film was like 99, so, spoilers. Take away the bullet time, take away the dodging the bullets, take away the scene where, we need all the guns, take away the kung fu scene, the helicopter, take away all of that, because those are the bits, we know those bits. And this could be a controversial take on things, but the stuff that surrounds that is some very well acted. Keanu, well, we used to call him the little wooden boy. I got a lot of time for Keanu Reeves. I think as a person, I saw a book at some point. It was like, be more like Keanu, or how to be more like Keanu, something like that. And I was like, that is an absolute winner as far as a book's concerned. And it was all about, I think it was like a self-help book, but basically trying to also teach you to be more like Keanu Reeves, which I personally think we should all try and aspire to be like him. I think he is just a genuinely nice guy. But I think that comes from a world of incredible pain. I've seen a variety of things about like how his life has been, and yeah, a lot of pain. But you can't get away from the fact that of all of them in that film, he is probably on the lower end of the acting scale. But yeah, it's just an absolute monster of a film. The thing that really stood out was like the red pill, blue pill thing, and the descriptions that Lawrence Fishburne's giving, and the way he articulates it all. And I remember saying this was always considered a particularly low budget film that became a sensation. It spawned 2 other films, unfortunately. and that sort of stuff. They're about to release another one, but there's like the scene where they explain to him about the Matrix itself and the world, that the real world sort of thing, and that whole thing about him just like his brain just exploding, not literally obviously, but just not being able to handle the information. And it's so well done that you feel that that stress of it all. And there are bits that that just look amazing, like the classic car element, the slow motion, not like the action scenes, just some of the bits where everything's slowed down and the world's going that little bit slower and stuff, and it's a really well done film. And I think when I was 20 years old watching that film, going, oh, this is the bit where he does the fighting, this is the bit with the guns, I might have missed some of the elements that make that film great. It's a great film. But yeah, going back and watching it this time, I wonder whether there have been slight alterations made to it. I think it got like a remaster. There was a couple of scenes that I remembered slightly differently. Like I say, film I've seen a lot, but I always remember like having seen it so many times that the kung fu scene where he does the backflip, it was so obvious after seeing it like 50 times that he was on wires, but watching it this time it didn't seem as obvious. When the agents take over people, they have that like the green matrix thing goes over their faces. I was like, I don't remember that. So I wonder if it's had a bit of an adjustment as a movie. I don't know. Don't know if that's a thing, but it felt that way. Or maybe I was just watching it with different eyes. So yeah, I'm not trying to review a film from 20 plus years ago like I've only just seen it now. I think what I came away from that experience was it's always worth going back and looking at things from the past, films and stuff. There are films that I've seen loads and loads and loads, that I'm wondering now whether it's worth going back. I put Fight Club on my list to watch. I'd started working through the Blade trilogy. Maybe seeing these things with a different perspective. But yes, honestly, an enjoyable viewing experience watching The Matrix. I really enjoyed it. And like I say, not necessarily for the action stuff, more for the stuff around it. So I finished Half-Life Alyx. I had like 5 days without playing it. There are times that it's easier for me to play VR, and there are times when it's nigh on impossible. And I had a point in time where it was nigh on impossible to play VR. So I didn't. Simple as that. And then I got back to it. Unfortunately, from that aspect, there was only a little bit left. I was a bit like, genuinely sad to finish that game. It's a masterpiece. It really is an absolute benchmark for games. I'm sitting here now talking about it, thinking, I'll be able to go and play it in a bit. it's very much one of those that it's a game that makes you want to do that rather than other things. Just graphically looks amazing. There are some scenes right at the beginning just amazing. And I won't spoil it, but there is a section at the back end that's really well done. Great mixture of gameplay elements. There's a kind of like, not a stealth section as such, but you have to be stealthy. You have to play it stealthily. But that's because of what's going on at that point in time. If I'm honest, that bit was a bit taxing, a bit of a chore, bit of a grind at points. But on reflection, I still thought it was amazing. It was so well done. It has, it basically takes a lot of the VR genre and it does like twists on it. So, whereas in Boneworks you can grab things from a distance, and it doesn't explain why. In Alex, it tells you why, because you've got these gloves that they're gravity gloves. Anybody that's familiar with Half-Life as a series will know that there is always, or more recently, there's been a gravity element. So, it's explained, sort of deal. I have started playing it again. I was a little bit in mourning in some way, because just such an amazing gaming experience that then not having it was like, I am genuinely saddened by this. And it's one of those things that when you get a good game, when you get a decent game, you're sad when it ends. I think that's a fair statement. And this, for now we're in 2021, which I have to keep remembering. The big takeaway for me for 2020 absolutely has been the VR. Big shout out, big props to Sam Muscroft for helping me achieve the Oculus Link side of things and the ability to be able to play additional VR games like Boneworks and Stormland and Half-Life. And Half-Life, I mean, it's got to be pretty much got to be game of the year for me. And I was going to say, and it didn't come out last year, but I think it potentially did come out last year. So, chicken dinners all around. Boneworks is up there. Boneworks is absolutely up there. But Half-Life does probably takes the biscuit. The only thing that Boneworks would win out on is the additional elements. Obviously, you've got a campaign, but then you've got like the arena mode, the zombie modes and stuff like that, which give you more playability. Alex was very much, I finished it and it's like, there you go, you finished the game. But like, oh man. Just phenomenal game. I really do wish that it was like a benchmark for the way VR games are made going forward. I doubt it, because I imagine it cost a lot of money to make, and I imagine it probably didn't make, I don't know, I'd have to look it up. But games like that are not going to be 10 a penny. Games like that are going to be once in a blue moon. But that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. I feel like there should be more like that. I was talking to Sam today, and I was saying, I've been incredibly fortunate that I've been able to play 3 monster games back to back. Boneworks, Stormland, which I need to go back and finish, well, I need to go back and play more of, and Half-Life Alyx. Like, proper monster games. So yeah, Half-Life Alyx, for me, game of the year. Potentially game of the year across the board. Because right now I couldn't tell you a single console game that has come out in 2020. Oh no, that's not true. Ghost of Tsushima will almost definitely be my console game of 2020. I'm not here to do a best of 2020 because in actual fact we made the decision, the royal we, the collective, the people that I would go to discuss game of the year sort of stuff, made the decision that there wasn't enough to talk about. So we gave it a miss. That tells you everything you need to know about that. So, let's talk some console games. I have a confession, and you're not going to like it, but let's just pull the plaster off real quick and be done. One of the games I got for Christmas was the Avengers game. I know some of you right now are falling off your seats going, I'm sorry, what? Because of the stance I took from having played the beta, so on and so forth. Shortest version that I can tell you is I wanted to play the game. I couldn't get away from that. Having played the beta a couple of times, and everything that was bad or negative, or everything I heard, all the bad reviews, the fact that they lost $43 million off the back of it, all of that, I still wanted to play it. I got it for Christmas, and I have played it. As you might expect, the beta didn't really give you as much as I thought it was giving you of the game, and there are these elements of gameplay that weren't in the beta. There's a reason for that, and I think the reason is that they weren't very good. I think one of my biggest issues with the game in general is that they've given you a character, a main character, the main story character. The character they've given you is, for me personally, is not a character that I would want to play as. And that goes for the Avengers themselves. If you look at the Avengers, so let's go through, and you've got Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye. I don't even know if Hawkeye's in it. He wasn't in the bit at the beginning, I don't think. Anyway, let's move on and we'll come back to that. I think he's been mentioned as a character further down the line. Hulk, Thor, Iron Man. Is that why do I think there's 7 of them? Or is that the Justice League? Of all those characters, Captain America, not overly bothered. Black Widow, not overly bothered. Hawkeye, not overly bothered. So that leaves you with 3. Hulk, Thor, and Iron Man. Of those 3, Hulk, yeah, I mean he's okay, but ultimately just a big guy that smashes stuff. So that leaves you 2 characters, and of those 2 characters, let's face it, you want to play as Iron Man. To be fair, the stuff when you get Iron Man, when you unlock Iron Man, however you want to talk about that, that stuff was actually quite good. Quite enjoyed that section. I enjoyed the fact that I was able to get Iron Man, and you get him quite early on, in some respects. So now I can play as Iron Man. Job done. But up to that point, they've given you Camilla Khan. Is she Miss Marvel? And I don't find her to be like a main character. So it's just like, you're making me play as that character again. That's really annoying. Because let's face it, ultimately, you just want to play as Iron Man. And ultimately, that means they should have probably just made an Iron Man game. You know, maybe that would have been the way to take it. I played it for so long. I found a series of problems and issues. It's a bit of a glitchy game. I did some video the other day just to show some people issues that I'd had with it. One of them was like this thing that it made it look like it was in 3D, but it was just like the screen was all just messed up. Stuff like that, you know, not great for gaming. So I made the decision to put it to one side, and I decided to play a different game. The next game on my hit list was Watch Dogs Legion. Installed it, played it. For everything that's good about it, for everything that's interesting about it, for everything that's, you know, stand out, like things like when you jump in cars, because it's like set ever so slightly in the future, any car you get in, or any motorbike you jump on, pretty much every single one of them is electric. Nice little touch, nice little sort of way of doing things. Kind of cool. Couple of issues with like things like shooting. The first mission, there was just like aiming and locking on and stuff like that. Just a couple of issues, but you know, I managed to deal with it. And then there's this aspect of this non-lethal thing, which I think was a thing in the second one. I think it was further down the line where you got like actual weapons. The hacking's there, the hacking's still fine, the driving there, the driving's not amazing. Because although, you know, every car you get is electric and that's quite novel, the actual driving's not brilliant for yet again another one where the driving is, you know, anywhere between like 30 and 40% of the game you're driving around. To have the driving element not great, not amazing. However, there is one thing that has put me off it as a game. It's set in London. Presumably by people who have never been to London, and presumably by people who have never met anybody who's ever been from London, because every single character that turns up is a Cockney and has the most stereotypical Cockney accent you can imagine, and it's like nails on a chalkboard kind of situation. Anytime anybody opens their mouth, you're like, shut up. What, and this might, I don't know how this sounds, but it's just an element of this game. One of the main characters is voiced by the same person who voiced what was Kidd, like Captain Kidd, but I can't remember their first name, but from Black Flag, who was somebody who was posing as a man who turned out to be a lady. And that voice worked really well in Black Flag because it was a voice that was in a lot of ways quite masculine, but also was able to be feminine, and that worked amazing for that character. For the character in this game, it's a female character, and essentially that person is narrating the game. And I don't mean the game as a narrator. I mean, they're like, oh, you need to do this mission, and you need to go here, and you need to do this, and you've got to get that bit of data, and you've got to do that. So there is a lot of talking from that person, and their voice is super annoying. So for every aspect that works for the game, it's wrapped in this bubble of awful voice acting. And it's quite off-putting. Like, it's like, oh, I'm going to go and do this. Oh, but I have to listen to you talk first. Once they've finished talking, it kind of makes you not want to do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. It's really bizarre. It's a really bizarre choice. It's just odd. So that is that. Speaking of things being set in London, the third game, and the game I've actually sort of kind of settled on playing, is the latest Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Or as they should have called it, Assassin's Creed We Wish We'd Have Thought of God of War when they did the Viking thing before they did, because now we just want to do the same sort of thing. I mean, I said originally this was absolutely Ubisoft looking at the God of War game that came out and being like, oh man, we should have done that first. Well, let's do it now. Let's cash in on the God of War money. I imagine God of War is still making, that game is probably still making money now. And I'm pretty sure PS5 owners get it for free. So, the first night I put it on, I was playing it and I was like, this game is terrible. Graphically, it looks awful. The way it plays really badly. It was just, it was not good. To the point that it actually made me fall asleep. The next day when I went back to it, I'd apparently played it in my sleep, which meant I'd missed loads of stuff. And a big chunk of not a big chunk, but a chunk of the story, for me, is missing, which I'm well happy about. Ultimately, I don't know how you come in contact with the assassins or get the hidden blade. I've absolutely no idea. Some might say that's quite key. So I had all these issues with it. It looked awful. Graphically, it was terrible. It played really badly. It was not an amazing experience. And I was like, I imagine this game's quite big. I imagine this game is quite long. If this is what you've produced, you should be ashamed of yourself. So that was that. Put it on the next day. Almost a completely different game. It looked different, played better. And I'm like, maybe it was just like that first time. Maybe it was like I don't know, a bit like it had to bed in or something. It was weird. Like I say, that is the game I am playing currently, or should I say, that is the game I'm playing when I'm not playing Half-Life. It is fine. I'm a little bit like, what would you like me to say? It's Assassin's Creed. It's obviously an improvement on the last one in the sense that you actually have a hidden blade in this one, which I'm still not sure how they managed to get away with that in the last one, not having a hidden blade. It's Vikings. Vikings are fun. Seems to be a lot more, I don't know, like a bit more in depth, which is a bit of a double-edged sword, because a lot of the time you're like, oh, that's interesting, that's cool, But it makes for a lot to try and remember, try and sort of keep in your head. It's like, oh, how do I do that? Which button do I press for that? What does this button do? Oh, I didn't realise it did that. Oh, I didn't want to do that. It's a bit like that. Also, it's again using the shoulder buttons for fighting, which I've never been a fan of. Obviously, I could probably change the buttons if I wanted, and maybe I should do that rather than bitching about it. But I am I'm a bit of a, I don't know what you call it, traditionalist. I just, if it wants it playing in a certain way, that's the way I'm going to play it. There's been a couple of things, like at one point I was going to the synchronization point things where you have to climb up stuff. And in everything else, it's been like, go to the top of this tower, go to the top of this building, go to the top of a pyramid. In this, it was go to the top of this mountain. That will take you the time to climb as if you were climbing an actual mountain. Pretty sure I spent 40 minutes climbing a mountain the other day. Does feel a little bit like the people who've made it have found a whole new way of getting you to waste time. But I am sticking with it, and it is the game I am playing currently. So yeah, there we go. That, as they say in the business, is that. Nothing else from me, but I will be catching up with you guys next time. As I said before, at time of recording, Happy New Year to you, and I will speak to you next time. So there you go. What do you think to that? Another one done. We're getting close to the big 100. We're going to have a party. Should we have a party? Let's have a party. YouTube watchers, do subscribe. It's great that you're watching, but it would be super cool just to click that subscribe button and help the channel out. Audio listeners, there's SoundCloud, there's iTunes. Pretty sure you can subscribe to those, so that would help us out too. Jump over to thecookiecast.com, check us out over there. We've got links for emails and social media, stuff like that. Drop us a line, let us know when you're going to come on the podcast and have a chat. So that's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye.